So today we have some pretty massive Star Wars news, and if you've been following the news cycle for the last couple of years, then you know this has been coming. Now, I do just want to clarify because this has been making the rounds, and I'm sure you've probably seen some pretty sensational claims about this, but at this point, it is just a rumour. The source of it is Matt Filoni of Puck News, who is pretty reliable, I would say. He's the person who broke the story about Rogue Squadron originally being cancelled, but until we have confirmation from Lucasfilm, treat this with a huge pinch of salt. Nonetheless, they do say an official announcement, is just around the corner. So with that disclaimer out of the way, my friends, let's dive into the big subject of the day. Kathleen Kennedy will announce her exit from Lucasfilm this month, and Dave Filoni with Lynwen Brennan are set to succeed. Now, if this is true, my friends, I actually called this a year ago. When news broke that Kathleen Kennedy was not going to retire but she was going to step down, I said that a very reasonable guess as to who was going to succeed her in terms of business strategy, expertise, someone who knows Lucasfilm, is the co-president Lynwen Brennan. She's the general manager of Lucasfilm Business, co-president at the moment, and overseer of all divisions, including Lucasfilm itself, the studio, ILM, and Skywalker Sound. But despite all of these accolades and her importance at the company, she isn't someone you hear about too often. She's not as big of a name as Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau, and so the name doesn't get passed around a lot. But the news today says that Lucasfilm will have two co-presidents, Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan. So you have a creative type and a business type to balance things out. And this is the extent of how it's been reported so far, but if you look at what's being said, it turns out Kathleen Kennedy has a very specific way she wants to go out. They say this: Filoni and Brennan become Jedi Masters at Lucasfilm. In the next week or two, Disney will finally confirm what we've all known for months. Kathleen Kennedy is indeed stepping down as Lucasfilm president, and Dave Filoni, currently the chief creative officer of the Star Wars unit, will be elevated to the top job. Filoni has never really been a traditional exec, so they're giving him a partner in Lynwen Brennan, currently president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business. And here's a crucial caveat, my friends. They say Dave is the one who's going to lead the creative direction of the future of the franchise, for film, games, and television. And if you're curious as to how Kathy's going to announce her departure, an exit interview has been set up for a very long time. That could be any day now. Kathleen Kennedy is leaving Lucasfilm after 14 years. And the big question fans want to know is, how are things going to change? Some people say it's going to make no difference. Dave Filoni's been a long supporter of Kathleen Kennedy. He's already got a lot of impact as CCO, he's already got a big voice at the company, and if he really wanted to shake things up and make changes, he probably would have done so already. And then there are those who say, well, things couldn't get any worse, so this is going to bring with it a new hope, if you pardon the pun. But I've already seen a ton of jokes on social media that, with Dave in charge, we're going to see Ahsoka Tano in pretty much everything. But on this front, my friends, there is a new rumour that says Ahsoka Season 2 might be the end of the Mandoverse. It all depends on how it performs. We already know Disney is moving away from live-action shows on Disney+, and so, if Ahsoka's final season pulls in low numbers, that could be it. And same deal with the big screen when it comes to The Mandalorian and Grogu. If it flops, don't expect a sequel or a season 4. Disney is being very strict, and we see that with the slowing down of content and the slashing of budgets, to the point they couldn't fly out an actress to film her Ahsoka Season 2 scenes. But if the rumours turn out to be true, and Dave is going to be implemented and in charge, things could change. I mean, look, they say Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be the end, but Dave has already written his film, or at least is in the process of writing it. The only thing I could really see changing is Dave writing it to be more of an end for the New Republic, instead of it being the beginning of a new trilogy, or his rumoured heir to the Empire. But returning to the original report, there is some more information that's given. Kathleen Kennedy is not finished with Star Wars. Even though she will not be president, she's not stepping away from the company entirely. She will continue to work on Star Wars films and shows, but as a producer instead of as an executive producer. And a little bit of evidence that backs up this rumour is that Dave Filoni and Lynwen Brennan were spotted together at the Lucasfilm Service Awards. Dave Filoni was honoured for 20 years of service. So, my take on all of this, let's wait and see. But I do believe it. I do believe this move is imminent. Despite years of rumours that Kathy's leaving and nothing ever happens, it's easy to see this and to say, here we go again. Just another bit of fake news that amounts to nothing. But for once, I believe it. Reliable reporters have been saying early 2026 for the last 11 months. And also note, my friends, Simon Halls, who is Kathleen Kennedy's personal publicist, has already set up an upcoming interview with her. This is set to be, and I quote, her cushy exit interview. It's also worth mentioning, my friends, in recent months Kathy keeps getting awards for lifetime achievements, and those kind of honours, given her age, given the fact she's kind of confirmed that she will be stepping down at some point, are usually rather performative and given at the end of someone's career. And look, outside of Star Wars, as a producer she has a very impressive resume, but as a fandom, I think we know it's about time. She recently had something of a very bizarre redemption when information about the hunt for Ben Solo came out. People started realizing that so many decisions we attribute to Kathy actually come from Bob Iger and Disney. But you know, the way she's managed Lucasfilm, the shuffling round of directors, the way the sequel trilogy turned out, cancelling projects, making really baffling creative choices, I think it's time for some fresh blood. Is Dave Filoni the answer? Jokes aside, hyperbole aside, I don't think we know what that's going to look like. If the Mandoverse does come to an end, what's going to be the next big initiative? I think they should either do the Old Republic, or even further back with the Dawn of the Jedi, or launch into the far future. It's time for something new. But on the Kathy front, if I were to give her some credit, I will say this. It's thanks to her fighting for Tony Gilroy that we got Andor, and that it was as incredible as it was. Because he was so convinced Disney and Lucasfilm were going to say no to so many of his ideas. Starting in a brothel, making the Gorman massacre as brutal as it was. He did say in numerous interviews, Kathleen Kennedy is the person who fought for his creative vision, to not water it down. So despite all of her foibles, and there are endless things we can criticize in-universe, but also out-of-universe with creatives, firings, cancellations, I do give her credit where it's due. And if Dave and Lynwen take over soon, let's hope it's a good first year for them in 2026. The Mandalorian and Grogu is just around the corner, Maul Shadow Lord, which by the way, I have a big video about coming very soon. And with the Mandalorian movie, my friends, Variety.com just posted their box office prediction. Their verdict is this: the movie will benefit from goodwill and brand recognition. However, not every Star Wars spin-off will feel the box office force. Let's wait and see, my friends, but what do you make of today's update? Let me know in the comments down below. Is this a good move for Lucasfilm? Do you think Dave and Lynwen are the best choices? Why so or why not? Who would you have picked? Let me know in the comments, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you, always.